Welcome back here to another Ironman episode, and as you can see behind me, we have a countdown here for Mayor Jerry, and there's only 18 hours remaining. Alright, so as you guys are aware or have noticed, we've been completely disconnected from the internet, and you probably saw that we're offline and AFK, not really AFK, actually disconnected for almost 5 days, and we'll tell you exactly why and what happened. Now, of course, before we tell you exactly what happened, we're going to start off with what we did on the first day, and that was actually on Sunday. We actually went up to the cottage early in the morning on Sunday. We met Zach and Squid, and we actually put in the docs for the cottage. You guys saw that on Twitter, actually, so definitely, if you guys haven't already, follow our Twitter. You guys can see all the stuff on there, but you saw it on Twitter there, and we put the docs in the water. It was a beautiful afternoon. We had lunch and everything, and all of a sudden, the weather started to change. So basically, the clouds started rolling in, and we decided to head home, and while we're driving home, we stopped by our good friend Richard. We sort of just chilled there for a little bit, and then, honestly, that you could hear the wind just going. It started getting stronger and stronger. Yeah, it started picking up, and then the rain started coming. It was actually insane. It started picking up more, and then we realized that the trees were bending quite a lot, especially around Richard's area. And we're like, okay, we're probably gonna lose some trees here. We're just looking out the window, and all of a sudden, the power started to flicker, and it just totally shut off. And I think you're even saying that it sounded like a freight train.
Yeah, I kind of did, but I wasn't sure.
It sounded different. That's what I can say.
I wasn't sure if it was at the house, like, because we were at the house, we didn't know how it sounds, in the wind.
Exactly.
But all of a sudden, the power did shut off, and we heard thunder. There was lightning. It was pretty close, but we ended up running outside, turning on the generator right away. We got some more power, and then we got inside, and we're like, hey, you know what? That was crazy, because it started dying down a little bit, and all of a sudden we got a call from our mom.
Yeah, exactly. We basically got the news that few major trees actually fell over at our place. And honestly, it was like probably a 5-minute span or even 10-minute span of this storm, and then it just stopped. The storm, it basically ended. But within that short period of time, a lot of trees got knocked over at our place. So we headed back. We're like, oh my gosh, the damage, right? I actually had my car at my place at that time, so I was worried it hit the car. So we drove back, and on the way back, we saw so much damage. It's actually insane. Like, it wasn't just damage of trees basically snapping off in the wind, but they're being derooted.
Even before that, like getting the call from our mom was definitely a shocker, because we've lived in our area since the day we were born, and we never experienced such a crazy storm where our mom told us that our trees are down.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we never had really any major trees down, except for of course the ice storm in 1998, which we were like 1 year old. We didn't even remember that. But honestly, we couldn't believe it. So we drove home, and sure enough, there were a few trees down.
Exactly. On the way, there's some roads, streets already blocked off.
Exactly.
Power lines were down. We saw some trees even on buildings, even homes on the way back. So we're like worried about our place.
Yeah, it was definitely sketch.
Some cars like off to the side of the ditch. I don't know what's happened with them. Maybe they just pulled over because of the wind, or maybe something like hit them. We don't know. But there's a lot of damage on the way back, and it was quite serious.
Yeah, so we ended up actually even seeing a pickup truck that had like a trailer attached to the back of it. That's how it looked. But when you look closer, when we drove by, it actually was an RV camper that you hook up to the back. And that thing was actually ripped off the trailer and folded like a box in the ditch.
Yeah, so basically the base just came off, stayed on the car, and the top flew away with everything, like all the stuff in the ditch. It was insane.
Yeah, and that was on the way home. So we knew that it was getting like the wind were definitely stronger towards home.
Yeah, and so we were basically driving through, and while we were driving, we noticed like the street lights were off, traffic lights were off, places like buildings and stores were all dark. So we knew right away the power was also out here at our place, and we pull in the laneway, and oh my gosh, what a mess. The trees were all over our garage.
Yeah, there was actually a pack.
It was insane.
Of cedar trees that fell onto our garage, and it was a pack of actually 6 trees that were in a bundle, and they were totally derooted or uprooted from the ground and just lying on the garage.
So they didn't even snap. Like, I guess the force of the wind on these trees, like the trees were strong enough, I guess, and flexible enough that they didn't break, but just the roots weren't strong enough, and they completely ripped out of the ground. There's even a boulder too in between the roots, and it still got out no matter what. And then we kept looking, and there were even more trees. Our neighbor had a few trees down. We looked down the street, they're all out of power, a few of the trees down. Almost looked like a certain path.
Yeah, it was definitely a path. Almost looked like there was some sort of like twister or something that went through, because it was all in line with the same path. Even our neighbor's shelter was totally crushed in the same line. And on top of that, we had actually trees that were pretty thick in diameter, at least like 20 inches at the bottom, and maybe even 30 inches at the bottom, all the way up to like, I guess, at least 10 to 12 inches at the top. And there's one of them that was actually twisted off, okay?
Yeah.
And the tip was wedged between the other trees, just lying there at least 10 feet away from the tree.
It was like really close to my car too. It could easily like hit my car, which is kind of scary. So we knew right away we had to clean that stuff up, especially the stuff on the garage. And funny enough, the rain stopped right away. So that's why we were able to drive back too, because it wasn't like pouring.
Yeah, exactly.
The rain stopped, started clearing up.
The whole storm lasted like 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was really short, and it did so much damage. If it went any longer, honestly, we would have had even more trees down. But it basically was slowing down. Obviously, everything was still wet. So we went outside right away. We decided to help out mainly just actually get our situation fixed first.
Yeah.
So cut down some trees. Other people came to help as well, and we're basically just cutting all day long
Exactly.
with
So
our chainsaws.
we mixed gas. We got the chainsaws ready, and we just were out there cutting with both chainsaws.
Yeah.
And we're cutting till it basically got dark.
Yeah, until it got dark and we couldn't see anything because obviously there's no power. But we got a lot done, and the amount of brush we had to move. The thing is that like the trees we have here, they're quite like bushy and puffy. So I guess that was really good because it kind of stopped the impact on the garage.
Yeah, we had so many branches
Yeah,
to clean
so
up.
we had tons of branches we had to take care of, which is I guess good in a way because it was a soft fall. But those it was just a pain to drag that back. So we got some help as well from the neighbors. But we're able to cut everything down as I mentioned, and then basically just let everything sit, make sure it was safe overnight, so that we could continue the next morning. But from that point on, the power was just out. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly cut in here in this dungeon run from the story. Of course, we're gonna continue here in a sec. But let's just take a look at these chests quick. Let's take a look here at diamond. Let's see here, gold, emerald. Okay, let's see middle. Just a few books and the bedrock. Yeah, some more books. Swarm 1 for 2 mil. I think I might do this actually.
All right, take a look here again with this S plus. Let's see the emerald chest, ultimate Jerry happy dough book, middle chest, last stand. Okay, just some books, diamond chest, ultimate Wise might take that. All right, and we'll take a look here at the bedrock chest. Let's see. Swarm 1, ultimate Wise 2 for 2 mil. Oof, I'm gonna take that right away. Actually, that's really good. I'll take that. Nice. All right, let's head up to the next run. Exactly. We definitely slept really well that night because we worked our butt off because we did the docks first, then we did the tree cutting and stuff and cleaning. And next morning arrived, and unfortunately it was a really rainy day, and we actually ended up just driving around and try to get ourselves some water.
Yeah, it was a little bit too.
Water.
I would say it was a little bit too rainy to do anything with the chainsaw, so
Exactly.
so let everything sit.
And gas too.
And
We had to
the
get
main
gas
thing
for
we
the
did was we
generator.
had to get gas, yeah, because we do have a generator, just get a little bit of power. And obviously, as you guys know, as you guys are aware, we need to hook up the Starlink to get some internet to let you guys know what happened, so you guys know that there's no power or anything. And of course, we need to get our daily coffee. We need that coffee in the morning, so that's why we need to get that generator going.
Yeah, for
So
the necessities.
Yeah, exactly.
So we ended up actually driving around town, and unfortunately every store was closed. No, not even a gas station open.
Yeah, every store, even like Walmart was closed. Like all these stores that you think would be open or would have a generator were completely closed.
Yeah, and there's one store open. It was actually Canadian Tire, and we actually ended up getting ourselves some water there. And they did it really old school, where they just wrote down your credit card number and things like that.
Yeah.
And they ended up selling a few things, which is very nice.
Just
But again, the
yeah,
power was still off there, so they were just doing it off power.
Yeah, exactly. They're selling things, just water,
Necessities
propane,
like
the
chainsaws.
propane, for your camping cooker.
Yeah, exactly.
That stuff. So the stuff basically you need to survive.
Yeah, so we ended up getting that, going to a friend's place, chatting with them for a while, and getting their stories from their neighborhood. It was kind of crazy because we're driving through the subdivision, and there was like a gazebo thing from like Costco on someone's roof. There's shingles missing. There's trees across the road still. And that was the next day already, right? So all these things are still broken. Even in town, there were a few poles actually just across the street. So we
Yeah,
ended up heading
telephone
back home
poles
that
too.
same day and basically making dinner. Like we're basically camping at home, right? We're making dinner on the cooker, on the barbecue, and then
And also our water too. We had to make sure that we had enough water to flush the toilets and all of that stuff.
exactly. We actually used
So we were lucky
rainwater.
because we had the rain barrel set up just before the storm. So we had enough rain water to basically keep the stuff going, which is really good.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate with that. Good thing it didn't happen in the winter, like the ice storm. That'd been really brutal. But basically, it was warm, which is good. So we could we didn't have to heat or anything during the storm without power, which is we just had to basically cook on the barbecue,
Yeah.
do that stuff,
Keep the freezers
and
running and the
just
fridges.
continue work. Keep cleaning up everything outside. It actually was quite an amount of work for the few trees. Like we only had I think like 6 or 7 trees that were majorly stuck or down, and it took us a while to clean it up just because they're like wedged in a dangerous way that if you cut this way or something,
Yeah.
they may fling up or wedge your saw or. You have to be really careful with that stuff. So
Or just picking up branches took a
even
while.
just cleaning up the branches. Yeah.
But then we ended up actually still not having any gas. But then my mom ended up getting some gas like deeper into the city the next day, which is good because then we could run our generators, make sure the freezer was frozen, make sure the fridge was cold, so we didn't
that
lose
was
our
the main
food.
thing.
That was the biggest
fridge,
thing.
Yeah.
Which we did. We managed to do that, and then we ended up actually finally hooking up our Starlink to the generator, so we had some Wi-Fi, which is awesome, but not enough power to run our computers, so we couldn't record or anything
Yeah,
like
no.
that. But we had enough power to get on the phone, give you guys a few tweets, give you guys a few messages. Of course, again, follow the Twitter if you guys haven't already. And then we also had a community post here on our YouTube channel, and of course our Discord too. So if you haven't followed our Discord, definitely join up and join the server.
And of course, go ahead, subscribe, join the code.
Yeah, of course,
if you guys
subscribe.
are enjoying these videos. I know we had a little bit of a break in between there. Too bad we missed Jerry, but hey, you know what? There's always another Jerry coming, so definitely subscribe for that content and just follow our Ironman journey. But honestly, it was insane. Like these past few days were absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there because it kept going because the power was up back after 2 days. It kept going even longer.
Yeah, so it was day 3, again, no power, and we decided to tackle the mess again outside and organize and get rid of a few more other trees that fell. Like, for example, like the tip that we talked about that broke off, we got rid of that thing. That took like most of the day too, majority of the day. Also helped the neighbor a bit. talked to the neighbors, and then again, making food was a big process, right? Getting everything,
Exactly.
picking to see what you're gonna unfreeze or unthaw, stuff like that. So we
Just
managed to
basically
do all
planning
that.
everything. And I do just say I was like worried because Squid just came over here and we
Yeah.
had to tell him it's not normal. These storms aren't normal. It's like the first time I've ever seen this in my life. So just
Exactly.
make sure that he doesn't want to leave right away.
And then again, even like the updates of when we should have power kept changing by
Yeah.
the day. Like they kept going ahead, a day ahead or 2 days ahead, and they were telling us that like Thursday night that we'd have power, or Wednesday night,
Yeah, they
and then
kept
went to
saying that there's a
Thursday.
time, but honestly,
Yeah.
there was no time because they kept changing it.
Which
So
I understand because it's crazy around us what happened, right? It's not really that easy to predict when you're like we have actual poles broken they have to replace.
exactly, and like we had some cables down too in our street, and we knew for a fact that once those aren't fixed, or once those are fixed, that's when we get power. So they kept saying a certain time, and we knew that we wouldn't be getting power till those are fixed. So we basically just kept an eye out on that. Once we saw like the trucks down there and everything, we kind of knew that this could be the day or the day after,
Yeah.
and it ended up being yesterday.
Yeah. So
Yesterday night, evening.
yeah, basically So basically, day 4 hit, and then at 3 o'clock, would be day 5, I think, right?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah. So it would have
something like
started day 5, and that day, that's the like within day 5, we basically got power. So we ended up getting power actually at like 7ish, I think, right?
that. Yeah, no, I think it was even later than that.
Yeah, so we ended up getting power late in the evening, right when the mining fiesta was on, and we ended up actually missing the mining fiesta because we had like I think we had like an hour left, or not even an hour left, which wasn't even worth the time to do it, or to get set up. So we just had dinner, and then we ended up just going to bed, and basically
just
now we
so
are here
tired.
today, the next day.
Exactly. Next day, and we hop on, check our minions. We emptied our minions, everything. Everyone's still here. It's
Exactly.
kind of funny how like people don't even know what happened, and within that time, and you're like worrying about the trees and everything, and like getting water and stuff, and then no one else that even knows, and they're just worrying about their minions on that. It's
Yeah,
just
we
hilarious.
still have one big tree we have to take care of. It's all
Yes, there is
cracked,
still one
and it might
concern.
fall any day, so
Yeah.
be careful with that. We've been thinking about that one for a while, but we managed to survive the storm,
Yeah,
of course. We were camping hardcore, for a few days.
Crazy few days. Honestly, quite eventful. I do have to say we got our forging skill or level a lot higher now.
Yeah.
At IRL. I saw some comments about that too, actually, on the community post. Kind of funny. They said forging up. We got the forging update early.
I know, right?
If that's a forging update, I don't know if we want it in Hypixel Skyblock. That's
No.
for sure.
Imagine your whole island gets broken from trees.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Compared to other people around us, we were very lucky. No damages really. It was more just trees down where other people actually had like damage on their house and all of that. So
Yeah, exactly.
To say,
we were lucky,
very, very, yeah.
even if
as
we
I
lost a
said,
few trees.
yeah,
We actually lost a few more trees out back in the forest.
even more than
and-
in front. Yeah, imagine those were all down at front.
We are planning on actually
Crazy.
making an IRL video so you guys can see the damage of that.
Yeah.
And so we're probably going to make that on the TwinCode channel, so you can check that out. But we're probably going to be posting on there. We haven't recorded it yet. We probably will record it in the coming days, so you guys can kind of see the actual damage, because there's some massive trees that actually got like uprooted back there too, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
It's crazy to see the strength of a storm like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so definitely hit close to home, and we never really experienced that too much. Usually it's just around us, not really actually like within our area. So
yeah, and the storm too.
it's
The
definitely
storm sort of
crazy.
seemed like it was just gonna be a storm, and then when you walked outside or drove outside, you just saw all the damage. It's like,
yeah,
wow.
they said it was a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It didn't really feel like a thunderstorm, that's for sure.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was our eventful past few 5 or 4 days, I would say, around there, of not having internet or power. So yeah,
Crazy.
crazy. And that is why we missed Mayor Jerry.